Welcome to another show of Open Stride Podcast, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. And this is a bit different. This is a bit different than what we have done in the past. This is we coming at you visually. So you can see now see me and now you can see my man FaZe, man, my NBA superstar analyst. FaZe, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm excited. I actually like this better, letting people see our faces and
Oh yeah.
but
So if they see
yeah.
you in the street, they can check you about your crazy takes about Trey Young.
I'm now I've changed my ways. I can't say anything bad about the Phoenix Suns because they can see my face now.
Oh man, be safe out there. Be safe. So what we're gonna do, and as y'all can see, Rockets all the way here, H Town representing. So and y'all see behind him the Cavs. So y'all know why our heart resigns. So how we doing this, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in to Open Shot Podcast, another episode. What it is now is the NBA preview. The NBA preview with Mad and FaZe. This is the NBA preview with Mad and FaZe, man. The Open Stride preview. Um, all y'all that tuned into my NFL preview, appreciate y'all for listening. It was all love. Thank y'all for tuning into that. Now we're moving on to the NBA and to see how we can do with that one as well. With this one, I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown just to let you know what's gonna go down. So me and FaZe both broke down each team in the NBA, all 30 teams. I did the West and FaZe did the East. We broke it down, and after we broke it down, me and him came together and we power ranked every single team in the NBA from 30 to 1. So we power ranked every single team from 30 to 1. So what we're gonna do from this point on, is we're gonna talk about each individual team and the plus and the minuses, the positive and the negatives about each team. So we're gonna break it down and let you know why we have each team what we have. So if you feel like we got your team too low, and we're gonna give you the reason why we have them too that low. And if you feel like another team is too high, we're gonna give you a reason why we think that we have them that high. So we're gonna go through every single team. So we hope you stay along for this ride. Each team is gonna have their own individual video clip. So if you just want to check out your team, you're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to check out the best team, check out the Rockets, man. Make sure you check out the Rockets. So we go jump right into.
Championship hat right here. Championship hat.
I can, yeah. One championship in 50 years, but it's 100 years, but it's okay. So
Hey,
we're gonna
happens.
we're gonna jump right into it, man. And we already starting early. We already starting. So like we said, from 30 to 1, and we're going from 30 to 1. So the worst team in the whole NBA, me and FaZe believe it is the OKC Thunder.
Drum
Yeah.
roll.
The drum roll there, the drum roll, please. The OKC Thunder. We think the OKC Thunder are the worst team in the whole NBA. We have them ranked 30th going into this new NBA season, the 21-22 season. And that's what we have them. We just want to, what we're going to do, like I said, I did the West and FaZe did the East. So how we're going to do this is whichever team we're on, whichever conference they're in, that's the person that's going to break down the information about it. And me and FaZe is just going to have a dialogue about the information provided and what we have them and why we have them, what we do. So let me look at my what I have here. So the OKC Thunder, we had them as the worst team in the NBA. Me personally, I feel like they have one of the worst starting lineups, not the worst. You'll be surprised who I think has the worst. But you might say, well, if you don't think they have the worst starting lineup, why you have them as the worst team? Because more factors go into the lineup as well. Coaching helps lineups out a lot. Some teams can have a bad lineup, but the coach they have can make lemon out of lemonade. So let's jump into the moves they made. OKC Thunder finished 22-50 last season. 22-50. Of course, they did not make the playoffs. Let's talk about the moves they made in the offseason. One big move they made, SGA, their starting point guard, the one that said he wants to be the Black Steve Nash, he signed a 5-year, $172 million max contract. So congrats to him. Congrats on him getting his money. And now he's currently the face of that franchise right now, moving forward. He got drafted by the Clippers, and he was moved in that Paul George trade. And now he's the face of OKC. We're going to see where they go from here. Other moves they didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. They signed Derek Favors as well. They picked up Derek Favors, and they lost Al Horford. If you want to count Kemba Walker, they did trade for him, but he didn't never play the dribble for them. So it's whatever. And they Morris Brown, that center they had. He was a pretty good productive center. I had him on my fantasy team. He was good, tall. He played at in college. He played at UCLA. For people that may not know,
Yeah.
so he was a pretty
He
good.
had games where he had a 2020 game at some point in the season, didn't he?
He had a lot of good games, so that's I was surprised that he lost him. So drafted can't move on without talking about the draft picks they made. The pick they made was Josh Giddey. People was kind of surprised about their phase. How did you feel about that Josh Giddey pick? I know you're a big NBA draft guy. How did you feel about that Josh Giddey pick?
I think it's a surprise because we knew there was gonna be a surprise, and there was a surprise that happened a little bit before that pick. But I think that was a surprise at first because I kind of felt like they were gonna go in the direction of making SGA the point guard going forward, and now with Josh Giddey, it seems like Josh Giddey is gonna be the point guard, and SGA is gonna be playing the off guard position. Which I mean, they're both dynamic players, so I can go either way, just guards. But I thought James Bouknight was going to be the pick right here, and that was going to be the starting backcourt of the future with him. But Giddey started jumping in the rankings as it got closer to the draft, so there's a lot of optimism around him. We didn't see anything in summer league from him because he got hurt literally like first couple minutes of the game, so we saw nothing. So it's a risk pick, but it could have a high payoff because he is talented and he has really good court vision. So we'll see.
Yeah, to talk about the thing about you playing point guard, I can see SGA and him kind of like playing just off each other in a way. So
Yeah.
it's a system where it's not really in one person's hands, but they just really just play off each other a lot. SGA may be the one to get majority of the touches, considering he's the face of the franchise, and we don't know what Josh is going to give us at all yet. We know what SGA can give us, but we're just going to see what he does. And it was a surprise, like you said, he went 6 overall, so we're going to see what they do.
They're
They
tall.
also
It's a tall backcourt.
it is it's long and tall
Yeah.
backcourt, and they got your man from ASU. Yeah, man. He did you ever go see him play or no?
Didn't get a chance to see him play in person that year. I went. Did I? I went to I think an ASU women's game that year. I don't think I didn't attend an ASU men's game that year, so I haven't seen him play in person.
I didn't know who he was until he was locking James Harden up in the NBA playoffs last year. We're talking about Doit for the people that don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the people that don't
Dort.
know. Yeah,
He's a
he's the
really good
current
defender.
pretty good. That was
Like,
it. He was giving James Harden fits. I was pissed off
yeah,
at him. I was thinking like, who the hell is this dude locking it? Like, what the James Harden? You better like, what's going on? So yeah, Doit.
yeah, he definitely that's definitely I think a lot of people that didn't know about him because he was undrafted. I think a lot of people that didn't know about him knew about him during that series if you watched the playoffs because that's when he really made a name. But they also highlighted his weaknesses because he's also not a really good 3-point shooter. He's improved, but there was many times that the Rockets would leave him wide open to shoot because they just didn't believe he would make it,
Yeah,
and he would shoot them.
I would say
Hey, I mean,
one game he was hitting them. One game I think he was
yeah,
21 game. One game he was hitting. He was pissing me off. So
yeah.
they also drafted Trey Man in that draft class where he went 18th overall, and they got some more second round picks. So who they have as far as expiring contracts? Derek Favors has a player option, and we can just talk about their starting lineup. So I feel like this roster they have the second worst starting lineup in the third worst starting lineup in the NBA. I think they have the third worst starting lineup in the NBA. We can get we want to show you what it is. So SGA, of course, point guard. In my opinion, I feel like Dort should start. In my opinion, I feel like Josh should start. I feel like they should run all three of them together. Josh Giddey, Dort, and SGA all together in that starting lineup. Then they got Darius Baisley, and then I feel like they can probably put Derek Favors in there as well in that starting lineup. How you like? What's any good things out there starting lineup in your opinion?
Derek Favors has a chance to prove himself to get another contract because he's looking like he's on his last leg in the league. And he probably can play on some contending teams as like in a reserve role, but he can, if he wants to make a little bit more money, this is gonna be the opportunity to make a little bit more money, have a good season while you're there, try to stay on the floor. I think the youth is nice, like with Dort and SGA and Giddy. That has a lot of potential to develop. It's gonna be rough patches for sure. Any team with a lot of young players, will Darius as well too. Lot of any team with a lot of young players, they're gonna go through growing pains. It's gonna be tough, and I think the potential is there. Let's see how Josh Giddey meshes and how his NBA skill is, because they might have found a diamond in the rough. Who knows? Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But lineup isn't built to compete even for a play-in spot as of right now. They're looking outward as they should. They have like 36 picks in the next 7 drafts. So this is only the start, and I can see major changes every single year for them going forward with all these draft picks and stuff.
But
So
speaking
it's a
of that,
matter of time.
that's a good segue to talk about something after that. We can talk about the 2022 draft. In my opinion, this is one of the better drafts. I know a lot of people was high on this past draft, and I honestly wasn't that high on this past draft. I feel like it was okay. I feel like Trey Young, when him and Luke and them came out, I feel like that's the best draft. I feel like that's been the best draft. And when we look back in the next decade or two, I feel like that draft class with Trey Young, Luca, DeAndre Ayton, all of them, Jared Jackson. I feel like that's gonna be the best draft class in the last 20 years. I feel like that draft class may be better than 2003 draft class, if we being honest. I know I told you this before, but I just feel like I'm just that high on that draft class with Trey Young and them. But that's just beyond the point. Just talk about this current draft class coming up in 2022. What's something that the OKC fans can look forward to? Because it's going to be based on how we got them. It's going to be a tough season. It's going to be a long season. It's going to be a growing season. And if we can be honest, OKC fans have been spoiled. As soon as their
Yeah.
franchise came about, they was gifted with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
And Ibaka and Jeff Green.
Yeah, like so much, like
There.
they was gifted
Yeah.
with so much talent. So they really never had no struggle year. As soon as they got there, they had like one bad year. Then once Kevin Durant played one last year in Seattle. Then they moved to OKC second year. That's when they drafted Westbrook. Then they drafted Harden that following year. And after that, they was playoff, Western Conference Finals, NBA Finals. Like it was like smooth sailing since then. From that moment on, so they really never
Sam
had.
Presti's a good. Yeah, Sam Presti's a really good GM. Like he knows how to draft really well. So that's also since it's Sam Presti drafting Josh Giddey, that makes you a little more like, okay, this is Sam Presti with a history of really finding good players in their draft, and even their developmental team, like they really develop their players well. So
Yeah.
that maybe he knows something or sees something that none of us see from the outside. So I agree they have been spoiled. So it's going to be a rough year. It's going to be rough for sure. So I
So,
agree with
so giving them,
Jim.
give
They
them,
were
some silver,
spoiled.
give them a silver lining, face. Who they could probably go end up with one of the top 3 pick. Who in the draft can they look forward to that can be that new guy to step in and not beat Kevin Durant, but just be a player that can be a franchise player for them.
They had Kevin Durant at one point, and a lot of comparisons already go to Imani Bates playing similar to Kevin Durant. We don't know if he'll ever be as good as Kevin Durant. That's a very, very, very big shoes to fill. But Imani Bates is someone that they should look forward to, and Chet Holmgren is another player they should look forward to. If they're going to be, those are going to be top 2 players, possibly. There's another. I can't remember the name. There's a player going to Duke next year. It's also a really big name going forward into the draft. But Imani and Chet are going to be the major names that you can look forward to being a top 3 lottery pick next year. And can't go wrong with either pick. They're both fantastic players, and we'll see in time how good they become. But if there's a potential for Oklahoma to get a Kevin Durant replacement, I think Imani Bates' game is probably one of the most similar to Kevin Durant's. So
I feel
I
that.
probably feel good for the fans.
I feel that. I feel that. We're definitely going to see. We're definitely going to see. So that's pretty much everything we have to say about the OKC Thunder. It's not much to talk about because the team's going to suck. It's going to be a bad year for the OKC Thunder fans. So I wish y'all the best. We wish you the best. But before we go, I just got a sneaky big question for my man Faye. Since so I'm gonna let y'all know both of us did the West and East. I told you that 3 times already, so I hope you're listening. And at the end of every team, we both have to ask the person we're talking to a question about the team. So since I did OKC, I'm gonna ask FaZe a question about OKC. FaZe, my question to you: in the Western Conference, nowhere else, just the Western Conference, will SGA ever be an All-Star?
It is possible, but it's not a guarantee. Okay. I think that SGA has potential to be an all-star, but not until some of the current older players retire and leave the league, such as LeBron and Curry, and some of the guys a little bit on the upper side that are consistent all-stars. They once they start flattening out and there's more openings for all-stars, I think he really can be. I mean, he had a really good season. The only thing is he couldn't stay on the floor. That's a question mark you have to look at going forward.
Yeah.
Like when he was healthy, he was really, really, really effective. Like I think he put 20 plus up, like 6 assists, 5 rebounds, somewhere around there. I could be out wrong. These stats these are off the top of my head, but he had a really good season. So if he builds upon that, maybe gets averages up to about 24 a game, efficient shooting, maybe a 7 or 8 assists and 5, 6 rebounds, that's all-star caliber numbers. And it's the potential is there. So he can definitely do that. The question is though, if he's playing with Josh Giddey, who's a true point guard, well, more natural. Let me not say true. A more natural point guard, and the ball's out of his hands a little bit more. Is he going to be as effective as like in terms of like his dynamic play? Because the ball's not going to be in his hands as much. You know, I think those questions exist, and to answer your question, it's possible. I think he will be in the future, but I don't think he'll be anytime in the next couple years, if that makes sense.
How long you give him? 5 years?
He's in going to year 4. I'll say 3, because I'm not going to say if I give him 9 years into the NBA makes his first All Star. I don't think that's something. I think he'll probably make it probably year 6 or 7. I can see it.
Once he really hit his prime.
Yeah, then he could really be a force to be reckoned with in the NBA. I mean, he makes jumps every year. So if he continues his trajectory upwards, he can definitely be an all-star. Not just a one-time or a two-time, maybe like a 3 or 4 or 5-time all-star. And hey, if you make 3 or 4 all-star games in your career, that's an accomplishment. You did good.
Okay, I understand that. So you think once he hit his prime around 27, 28, 29, whatever, you think he could be a top 10, top 15 player? What's his max to you?
I think top 15 is tough, but I think it's definitely possible. I think he's super talented to be a top 15 player. Super. Top 10. For me, for anybody that's watching, I am super picky about my top 5 and just as picky as my top 10 because that is like there's hundreds of players in the NBA, right? And in order to say that someone is better than over hundreds of players in the NBA and the world, you have to really be consistently great. So in order for me to say he can be a top 10 player, I need to see real sustainable consistency from him and remain on the floor. So I can see a top 15 as of today. I don't want to say top 10 because I don't feel comfortable putting him in a top 10 category yet. That could change.
Well, I like that answer. So that's going to be it for us. Thank y'all for listening to our first episode of Overshot NBA Preview. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next 29 teams. Stay tuned for your team. Stick around and watch your team. But thank y'all for listening. That's going to be it for us on this episode.
And women, anybody. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying thank you for everybody. I said thank you guys, but let's not be subjective. Anybody who listens, thank you for listening.
Oh yeah, thank you for everybody that's listening. We do this for the love, but we want y'all to tune in. So stay tuned for our next team. You're gonna be you may or may not be surprised who it is. I'm just gonna say one player in the draft did not want to go there. So we're gonna go on to our next team, and we're gonna see y'all on the next round of our NBA preview. Stay tuned for Team 29. Peace.
I'm in turn.